Well, greetings and salutations, imagination connoisseurs. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the World Wide Web, the John Campea Show, right here on the John Campea YouTube channel. I am your host today, Robert Meyer Burnett. John Campea is not here. He is traveling the highways and byways of the land, but I'm bringing you producer and also bon vivant and also very talented filmmaker in his own right, Jonathan Voico.
Good morning, everybody. So it looks like it's just going to be just the two of us.
Just the two of us. So and by the way, the inmates are running the asylum.
That's right. I'm barely running it. I hardly know what I'm doing, but I got a show together.
The Batman Beyond team is back.
Kind of like half of us.
Half of us are here.
Yeah. So look, guys, today's going to be fun. It's going to be a little looser today, but we've got some great topics for you. Of course, our tip link is still active. So if you would like to send tips, Rob and I will answer those questions after we go through the main topics. Here's the tip link, streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. Also, if you can't catch us live, you can't catch us on YouTube, you can catch us on, well, my shot's not there because, like I said, the inmates are running the asylum, but you can catch us on the
wherever you get your
podcasting, Spotify, Apple, wherever you choose. But anyway, I think we got some topics here today.
We got some topics, the latest news coming at you from Tinseltown.
That's right. And, hot in the presses has been one battle after another, but something that's been reported recently is that it's lost some money for the studios. Want to talk about this, Rob?
Yeah, of course, we've talked a lot about how Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi's reign at Warner Brothers was re-energized by 7 films in a row that opened not only at number one, but over $40 million. Now, they're taking a big gamble on great creators, great visionaries, and their works. And so far, it's paid off. Now, One Battle After Another is obviously from the great Paul Thomas Anderson, and it did open at number one, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, based on the Thomas Pynchon novel loosely, Vineland. And so here we have the film. There's some box office news. Every Monday morning, Virginia-based cinema owner Mark O'Mara pores over the grosses to see how the newest releases are playing in his area. Last weekend didn't offer much to celebrate as some well-reviewed Oscar contenders collapsed at the box office. The Smashing Machine, a sports biopic starring Dwayne Johnson as MMA fighter Mark Kerr, died pretty quickly. Of course, Roof Man, a dramedy featuring Channing Tatum. Well, people love that, and it also is slow as hell, says O'Mara. And, of course, this is tough because these films, I think, are actually great films. The studios are taking chances. They're doing something different. I mean, I think I saw Roof Man. I think Roof Man was terrifically fun. And, again, I don't know if it's marketing or what, but they are reporting that movies like, One Battle After Another has lost a great deal of money.
Yeah.
And the thing about this film is, the studios have sort of moved over into making spectacle films for the masses that travel globally. And One Battle After Another is obviously a visionary. I mean, we're coming off, Paul Thomas Anderson is the man who made Phantom Thread, about a man who made dresses, starring the great Daniel Day-Lewis, which, by the way, is an amazing movie, which I loved. But it's not exactly going to, burn up. I don't think teenage people are like, let's go see the new movie about dressmaking from Paul Thomas Anderson.
Right.
Although I would say that, we do have a cult of A24, and there's a lot of really interesting, some really great indie films or movies at lesser budgets being made. This was a big budget studio picture with stars like Benicio del Toro and, of course, Leonardo DiCaprio. But unfortunately, they're saying it might lose up to $100 million. Now, it's also Oscar bait. So maybe it has a chance at a second life, depending on what the nominations might be come Oscar season. But again, Jonathan, there's a really interesting philosophical question to ask here. We seem to live in a culture that only now values profit. If something isn't profitable, it's not worth doing.
Well, what's interesting to that is it seems like it's not just the creators and not the storytellers, but the executives. But it seems like the audiences are right in line. And what I don't understand is we hear over and over, Hollywood doesn't make original films. It's just comic book tentpole movies. We just want stories that are like kind of refreshing and character based. And then you give that to them, and $10 million worth of people on a weekend go see it.
Yeah.
So how do you get people in theaters? Because I understand a lot of people don't go see Paul Thomas Anderson films, but it got a lot of hype. Leonardo DiCaprio's in it. The trailers look great.
Shot in VistaVision.
Yeah, I mean, it looks incredible. The Smashing Machine, people love Dwayne Johnson. We've talked to this ad nauseum, but people just aren't showing up. It's like, I feel like they want those movies, but they want those movies on streaming. But if it's on streaming and it didn't show in a theater, it's not prestigious enough. This is going to be a strange puzzle for the studios to fix.
Yeah, and you know, with streaming movies, they're spending theatrical dollars on streaming films. Like we heard, The Electric State, a $300 million movie, The Gray Man, a $220 million film, and those are only on streaming. What I find really interesting is we're moving into, I think next week, Catherine Bigelow's movie House of Dynamite opens, which is supposed to be, by all rights, incredible. Really, it's a streaming film, but they're going to give it a bit of a theatrical birth. We have, of course, the new Knives Out film is going to have a little bit of a theatrical birth. And of course, Amazon has committed their next year's slate entirely to theatrical. So it's a weird time for the business. But I think, look, also One Battle After Another. Remember, movies take 2 years to get made. So people are calling One Battle After Another like a commentary on the state of affairs politically in the country today, which really isn't fair because, one, it's loosely based on a novel that was published quite a while ago. And two, who knew what the state of the world was going to be today when they started making that movie years ago? So it's really interesting. Zeitgeist, timing, it all plays into it. But
you know, to that argument though, I was thinking, it's really, I get it. It's low hanging fruit. Oh, we're supposed to just love revolutionaries, like people who just like apparently want people in prison camps. Whatever. But well, okay. I mean, Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid were bank robbers, and we loved them, and nobody complained about that.
No.
The Wild Bunch were a bunch of scoundrels, and we loved them, and nobody complained about that. I mean, or still going back retroactively and saying, can you believe people liked movies about where bank robbers were the heroes? I mean,
No, and I think, you know, any great piece of art is there to start a conversation, not dominate a conversation,
Correct.
Not tell you what the conversation should be about. And I think all of the great works of cinema, sure, they might have points of view, the directors might have points of view, but the reason cinema endures as an art form is it transcends the time in which it was made, and it's still able to, look, if you want to look at one of the great movies ever made about Hollywood, Sunset Boulevard. Now, the fashion of it might be a little outdated, but if you sit and watch that story, it's timeless. And it never ceases to entertain. And every year that clicks by, that film becomes more and more resonant, depending on who you are and when you see it. And I think that's what great cinema does. And I think in 20 or 30 years, One Battle After Another will endure.
I think so. And actually, we're touching on a couple of themes you've mentioned. We're going to talk about some topics in a little bit about enduring, about people's perspectives maybe changing or understanding. And we're also going to be talking about some nominations and how this might affect these films down the road. But anyway, with that down, guys, let us know what you guys think about One Battle After Another, apparently losing almost $100 million for the studios. The article also brings out that studios need to lower budgets, but this wasn't really a tent pole. This is a tent pole for Paul Thomas Anderson. But when we're talking about Smashing Machine, the budget was, I believe, 40 million.
40 or 50, yeah.
And yes, it could have been done for probably 30, 35 million, but at only making 10 million, this is still going to be a loss. So let us know what you guys think are the problems with viewership, with budgets, all of that. In the meantime, we're going to move on. First off, I'm going to take this link down, but go ahead and send your tips to streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip.
So what's next?
We'll answer those later. But next up, we've got some interesting news about a Bela Lugosi biopic. Rob, why don't you bring us into that?
Let's shoot this fucker. This is what I am very excited about. Of course, everyone knows, in my mind, everyone knows that Ed Wood is by far Tim Burton's greatest achievement. Of course, Martin Landau's turn as the elderly Bela Lugosi is amazing. And of course, Johnny Depp as Edward D. Wood Jr. Well, my next one will be better. One of the great movies of all time. Also one of the great movies ever made about Hollywood. Wildly entertaining. I never thought that somebody would make a prequel to Ed Wood, but here we are, brought to you by Leonardo DiCaprio's company, Appian Way. They're developing a biopic of young Bela Lugosi for Universal, and Ed Wood, the screenwriters, Scott Alexander and Larry Karaszewski, are scripting the movie. So you get those writers to come back, very talented writers. And I won't tell you why, but I have a connection to them in my own credits of my own Hollywood. You can figure that one out if you look at the IMDb. But they're the production company of Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Davison, and they've teamed with producers Alex Cutler and Daryl Marshak to develop a Universal Pictures biopic of Bela Lugosi, the Hungarian star of stage and screen, who originated the character of Dracula both on Broadway and in the classic 1931 Universal horror film. Reps for Universal declined comment. While insiders stress that it's very early days in the project, the backstory is interesting as it came to Universal as a pitch around 2 years ago and has quietly been gestating ever since. The script is by Scott Alexander and Larry Karaszewski, writers of Tim Burton's Ed Wood, which won Martin Landau an Oscar and other top honors for his portrayal of Lugosi. And this film will focus on the younger Lugosi, capturing the meteoric rise to become one of cinema's most enduring and recognizable figures. And the film chronicles his immigration from Hungary and the rise to stardom, both as the star of Dracula on Broadway in the late 1920s and its 1931 Hollywood adaptation, as well as his precipitous fall after declining the role of Frankenstein went to his future rival, Boris Karloff.
I actually hope they touch on some of that rivalry in this film. I have no idea.
I think they will. What a great role for a young actor to play, too.
Now, we don't know. I mean, obviously, DiCaprio is producing. Are we assuming he's starring in it?
I think he'd be too old to play. I mean,
but he could be playing any role.
Oh, that's true. I mean, he to be in the movie, maybe as an executive or somebody. Why not? I mean, I could see something like that happening. I mean, you could see Leonardo DiCaprio playing him, but people looked older back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, he's 28 here, so
yeah, that's crazy. But anyway, I love this idea. I love Ed Wood, and again, it wouldn't surprise me if they hired Tim Burton to direct this movie.
Really?
I
mean, think it's going to go with this? I don't think it'll be the same tone.
No, it won't because Ed Wood was about Ed Wood, not so much about Bela Lugosi. But I do think that Tim Burton would have unique insight in. It wasn't just Ed Wood that Tim Burton liked; it was Lugosi. But I'm not saying they're going to hire him. Maybe it would be better if they hired a different kind of a director. I mean, I would love to have seen like Milos Forman, not just because of the Hungarian connection or whatever. It would have been cool to see somebody like him approach it like a movie like Amadeus. I don't know. Amadeus is one of my favorite films of all time.
I also could see this happening. Obviously, they just worked with each other on Killers of the Flower Moon. I mean, he is a film historian.
Yep.
Martin Scorsese could actually tell this story. And I think it's refreshing because it's not like all of his films are gangster films. A majority are. But he's done other films, obviously. And he could actually be a great...
You know what? That's actually a good choice. And his new film is based on a novel that they're working on. A contemporary novel. I think it's set today. It might be a period piece. But I think it'd be great for him. I mean, I loved Hugo. A lot of people don't like Hugo. I love Hugo. Great 3D film, by the way. Perhaps one of the best 3D films.
I don't think a lot of people, when you have movies like Hugo or whatever, people don't realize that his hands were on that. Like, he directed a lot of films that people just assume, like, well, I know if it's like a gangster film, I know that's Scorsese. Like,
right.
But they don't remember those other.
No.
That he is attached to those. So
I love The Aviator. Another great movie about Hollywood that stars Leonardo DiCaprio.
There you go. All right, guys. Well, tell us what you think about this. Are you excited? Are you not excited about a Bela Lugosi biopic? I know it goes back many generations, but DiCaprio's company is producing it. Ed Wood scribes are writing it. It's still in development. This isn't anything necessarily greenlit yet, but it's in early development. Tell us what you guys think in the comments. And moving on,
what do we got?
Handsome Hawk. He's in a great series right now called The Lowdown.
Yeah.
It's called The Lowdown. He was also in a pretty well-received horror film called Black Phone, which I believe you guys saw at CinemaCon.
We saw it at CinemaCon. I loved Black Phone. I thought it was great.
Black Phone 2 is dropping, and we've got our where's my lower third? First off, we've got reviews in.
The reviews
for
are in.
Phone 2. So why don't we go through some of these reviews and we'll see what we think about this stuff, Rob.
All right. Look
So
at Black. I mean, it looks. The trailers for this movie have been great, so I'm very excited. It looks like it's different than the first film. They're not just treading familiar territory, and it looks like it's far more terrifying and surreal. We're at 81% of the tomato meter. 43 reviews are in.
Let's take a look.
Let's take a look at what we've got.
I'll scroll over so we can read them.
Blu-ray.com, Brian Orndorff comes out and, harshes my mellow and says, Black Phone 2 sticks with dream logic and cheap frights. And the offering takes its time to get where it's going, aiming for a more emotional, family-oriented scare zone in a decidedly ho-hum movie. Why you got to harsh my mellow? Anyway, let's go down and look at what Dan Bayer says. Next best picture. It's easy to wish Black Phone 2 came together better, but you can't deny that all the film's individual elements are quite strong. It will chill you to the bone, mostly because it takes place during the winter. But it won't haunt you for too long afterwards.
Interesting. So far mixed.
Yeah, they're mixed. Neil Pond from Neil's Entertainment Picks says the original Black Phone was a big box office success, but maybe it was best just to let it rest in peace rather than bring it back with a story that feels like a strained hodgepodge of horror show cliches and stereotypes. First of all, as a lifelong horror fan, most horror films rely on horror tropes. And if they're presented well, we love them anyway. Just saying.
Yeah, isn't that kind of the point of a lot of horror films?
Yeah, it is. I mean, they're not trying to make, the Oppenheimer of Black Phone movies. It's Black Phone 2. Anyway, so then we got Ollie Richards from Time Out, who's a top critic coming to us from the UK. There's still plenty here to make you shiver, but in letting events out of the basement, this sequel has also released much of the tension. Well, I don't know. I think seeing Handsome Hawk skating with that mask on is terrifying. Simon Thompson from The Playlist says, it's this film's ability to embrace different styles and influences that truly excels and delivers. My man. It plays with tropes as much as it plays with the audience's expectations. That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of review I want to read. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to not give you the same thing.
We got a couple losses here.
Couple of losses. Kristen Lopez from The Film Maven says, an homage to the Nightmare on Elm Street series, so blatant as to be an outright ripoff. Black Phone 2. Now, wait a minute, little sister. I would like to hold up right there. It's not a ripoff of Nightmare on Elm Street when you're coming off of a film called Black Phone. It might have certain influences I can say, but Nightmare on Elm Street borrowed things from a lot of other movies too, as does most of the horror genre. Black Phone 2 takes elements that should work, but ends up losing the beat with a sluggish story and a wafer-thin premise. I don't think that's true. But anyway, I haven't seen...
Nice Monty Python.
You like that? You like that?
Waffle thin.
Matt Singer from Screen Crush, who's a top critic, says there's something appealing about the way Black Phone 2 finds comfort as well as terror in the analog, but I must admit this particular film did not grab me.
Feels like we'll go through a couple more, but so far it's feeling like it's so close, but just misses. By the
Chris Joyce from Movies and Munchies says, while this isn't the scariest film of the year, it provides freaky chills with some touching depth, using familiar and relatable themes to deliver its horror. Okay, that sounds good to me. Travis Hobson from Punch Drunk Critics says, not only is the sequel just as terrifying as the original, the grabber leaves an even greater impression despite having much less screen time. Well, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Look, you know what? Horror films have always been very divisive when it comes. There's a lot of people that, for instance, Eureka out of the UK just sent me my 4K disc of Martyrs. And Martyrs is a family film that really everybody should see. Or it's a movie that'll make you go screaming into the loony bin. It just depends where you're coming from. So I think this movie looks like it's a lot of fun. The early screenings went over pretty well. But we'll see. Horror is definitely an acquired taste.
I mean, I will say, though, this does feel like a tonal shift from Black Phone 1, which was really more of a serial killer style, like kind of thriller, really, more than just horror. And now this is going into like the tropes of horror. We kind of saw the inverse of this with like Megan, and then Megan 2.0 kind of made it more like a horror comedy
and an action film.
So I wonder if people are not going to turn out for this. I just want to look at Black Phone's box office because I can't remember.
I don't know. I think folks are primed for Black Phone. We are in the Halloween season. People want to be spooked. We're coming off of a lot of great theatrical horror numbers.
Yeah. It seems to be this year's the era of horror. I mean, Black Phone 2 opened to 23 million and it made worldwide 161. So it's not like it was a huge blockbuster to begin with.
But it didn't cost a lot.
Right. This seems like there's more effects and the budget's upped. So I'm curious about how this is going to land.
Okay, here's a
ultimately.
question. Is the weekend box office going to exceed the first Black Phone?
You know what? I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes because I think there's a lot of Black Phone heads out there. I think there's people that don't want to get busy signals. They want to be out there seeing this movie opening weekend.
Well, look, at best I think it matches it, or we're going to be having a topic later this next week or so when this releases I don't remember when it
I know I'm going to see it. I'm going to see it with as a double feature with the new Luca Guadagnino movie.
Oh, okay. Well, that's going to be an interesting double feature. Okay, so October 17th. So it is this weekend. I mean, also, reviews dropped 2 days before release. So this weekend, on Monday, we'll be talking about this. I say it's at best going to match the 23 million. You say it's going to exceed the 23 million.
I do. After the hunt, it's Black Phone 2.
Who's correct? Well, anyways, guys, are you guys seeing Black Phone 2? Are you excited for this? Does this look like a silly guy on ice skates, or does this look terrifying to you? You tell us. Let us know. We want to know. Hear from you guys. Are you going to see it this weekend or maybe second weekend out? What are you going to do? Moving on, we have an interesting topic. I mentioned we were going to have some elements that are going to echo and harken back throughout this episode today. One of them is the Smashing Machine, which we did just talk about comparing it to One Battle After Another being a flop, which it was, abysmal. Someone says they actually think it's just misunderstood and it's going to be appreciated later. Rob, what say you?
Well, guess who's talking about? Guess who is talking about the Smashing Machine? That's right, C-Note, our beloved C-Note. None other than Christopher Nolan himself, known as C-Note around these parts. Christopher Nolan predicts Dwayne Johnson's The Smashing Machine will be better understood over time after flopping at the box office. I hate that because, no movie is a flop, really. Not in my mind. I mean, studios see it differently, yes.
When you're paying for the thing, you see it differently.
Yeah, so the Oscar-winning director also shared his thoughts on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's acting chops. I don't think you'll see a better performance this year or most other years. This coming from the man who has the star-studded Odyssey coming out next year.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan is weighing in on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's latest film, The Smashing Machine, which is underperforming at the box office, and he is showing his support for Johnson. Nolan recently appeared on an episode of the Director's Cut podcast with Smashing Machine director Benny Safdie, who was in Oppenheimer, which won Nolan his first Best Director Oscar.
I see
During
Oppenheimer.
During the discussion, Nolan praised Johnson's performance as heartbreaking. I think it's an incredible performance, Nolan continued. I don't think you'll see a better performance this year or most other years. What else did he say?
He said, right here.
Oh, well, that's it.
Oh, that's it. But
that's what he said.
But I mean, I will say he's not wrong when it comes to the performance. His performance was really great. There literally were only two. This is going to sound kind of strange when I say this, because you're going to be like, dude, it's The Rock. How did you not recognize The Rock? But I just mean in terms of the persona he was bringing forth on screen.
Oh, yeah.
There were only actually 2 moments in the movie where I'm like, that's The Rock.
Right.
Like, I saw it in his expression. There was a moment where he loses a fight and he's walking up the stairs to get stitched up. And he has this moment where he's like looking up the stairs and I see The Rock. I don't see his character.
Right.
Weird moments where his mask is revealed and quickly covered over. It really was uncanny. I mean, I will say too, his New York accent, dude, it was spot on.
Yeah.
It was not the stereotypical, New York accent.
Well, I think wrestlers, I mean, you look at people that are in other performance, like comedians. I remember seeing Robin Williams. One of my favorite movies of the early 80s was The World According to Garp. And that was Robin Williams, a big breakthrough dramatic role for him. And I think George Roy Hill directed that. And you had Glenn Close and you had John Lithgow in that film. And I thought Robin Williams was fantastic. So it doesn't surprise me that wrestlers, I mean, we've been watching Dave Bautista's transformation into an actor. I mean, wrestling, you're acting, you're performing in front of an audience, and you're learning those skills. And Dwayne Johnson has been, he did early films like Peter Berg's The Rundown, which I liked him in. I mean, I think that he's earned this, and he obviously put everything he had into it. So it's not surprising to me that a director like Christopher Nolan can recognize what was put into the movie.
Well, I mean, going back to kind of the headline here, though, his comments were that it would be better understood in time, inferring that it's misunderstood. Do we really think the film was misunderstood or his performance was misunderstood? Because I felt like it's not that complex. It's a person who's struggling with drug addiction and struggling with actually his true addiction is to the crowd and to that hype that he gets.
Right.
In the film, he calls it orgasmic, hearing the cheering and the winning and the being on top and the drugs.
That's what she said.
Yeah, and the drugs he needed in order to sustain that. So I don't feel like it was a big mystery of like this isn't U-turn, this isn't Mulholland Drive where we have to decipher it. So what do you make of those comments?
You know what, I think when he says misunderstood, I think it's more toward the fact that he was talking about the box office performance. Because I think that nowadays audiences look at movies and go, okay, that looks like a streaming film. And I think if you're going to roll out to a movie theater, whether you're going to do it with your friends, you're going to do it with family, or you're going to do it with yourself, I think people want to have a transcendent experience in the movie theaters. And if they see a story they think that they've seen variations of a theme on before, it's hard to get people to go out to the theater. And it's not like this film was breaking some kind of new ground. It's a sports story that we've seen told in various iterations before. And I think that people were like, I can wait. And I think this movie will probably end up doing very, very well on VOD and then on streaming, because people will come back to it and watch it again and again because it is a familiar story. And you are interested in seeing The Rock do this. And I think it will discover its audience. And I think that's what Christopher Nolan was alluding to.
Yeah. And you know, I kind of liken this film. It just kind of dawned on me. I liken this film to the movie that came out a while back, The Whale, with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
It was the promotion was very performance heavy.
Yes.
His performance will blow you away. You won't even know it's Brendan Fraser, this and that. Good movie, but I think a lot of people came away from that movie saying the movie felt like it was like a streaming movie. It was okay.
Yeah.
It was a smaller story. His performance blew us away. Probably Oscar nomination. It was Oscar nomination worthy and even maybe winning worthy. And I think the same can be said about I won't say The Rock, Dwayne Johnson's performance in this. The film is a smaller film,
right?
But it's overshadowed by a great performance. So yeah, maybe in VOD, this movie is gonna, and also in streaming. Have you guys seen it? What did you guys think? Not a lot of you did. I liked it, but again, I felt like it was a smaller story with a great performances. So tell us what you guys think about Christopher Nolan's comments on this. Was it misunderstood? Was it not? In the meantime, guys, we have some more we're going to talk about. We've got Oscar nomination predictions are heating up. We're going to go into all the major categories with that, have some fun with that. And then K-pop Demon Hunters. We talked about possible animated sequels, of course. And then we were reporting a few weeks ago, and some others were reporting about possible live action adaptation. Now the creator is saying that she's kind of opposed to that, and the co-director is opposed to that. Do they have a say? We'll get into all of that. First, we want to hear from our sponsor at Mando, so we'll be right back.
The different Mando.
The different Mando.
We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Mando. All right, guys, listen, fall's here, football season, yard work, those long work days, and yeah, that means sweat. But here's the thing, staying fresh doesn't have to be a battle. You guys know I've been using Mando, that's Mando, and this stuff actually works. Now, you know, I've been telling you guys about Mando for a while now, and when I first started using it, I wasn't sure what to expect, but Mando totally surprised me. It's not just a nice scent, it stops odor before it starts. And the sweat control, on point. I can go through a full show day, go hit the gym, and I'll still be dry. And I love that it pulls double duty with one stick that handles both odor and sweat, no reapplying, no nonsense. And it's long lasting up to 72 hours. So here's the deal. Mando's got a starter pack that's perfect if you're new. You get their solid stick, the cream tube, 2 free extras like mini body wash or deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And right now, you can get 20% off site-wide when you use my code Campea at shopmando.com. Again, that's shopmando, shopmando.com, code Campea for 20% off plus free shipping. So do yourself a favor and stay fresh this fall. Control body odor anywhere with Mando. It's not magic, it's science.
All right, guys. Thank you to our sponsor at Mando. We hope you guys use that link and find some good use out of that. So next up, we're going to delve into the end of the year is coming upon us very quickly.
It is.
And Oscars season, we're in it, and the nomination buzz is warming up. So I figured we could go into who is leading, and I think it's pretty obvious. We talked about it earlier. It's one battle after another, but it may not be as much of as cut and dry of a blowout as we think it might be. Rob, what do you think about the nominations here? We'll go through the list.
Well, we got a good list here. Obviously, the Gold Derby, their Oscar nominations for 2026. First of all, one battle after another is their number one film. But I got to tell you, Chloe Zhao's new movie, Hamnet, which is about Hamnet, was the son of Shakespeare. Paul Mescal plays Shakespeare in the film, and of course, they lost him at a very early age. Mm-hmm. I have heard nothing but wonderful things about this movie. I can't wait to see it. Look, I'm still a staunch supporter of Eternals. You stop it. You stop it right now. I love Eternals. Chloe Zhao following up Nomadland with Eternals. Look, I want Eternals too. Come on, Kevin Feige, make it happen. But this film is supposed to be sublime. I can't wait to see it. And Jeffrey Wells, who's not a big Paul Mescal fan, must admit that this movie is probably pretty good. I don't know. Number 3 is Sinners. Of course, Ryan Coogler's pastiche of the 1930s, early 30s Mississippi Delta with vampires, and what a film it is. I really loved Sinners. I keep watching it. I love it. And then, of course, we have Sentimental Value, which I have not seen, at number 4. Marty Supreme, which everyone's talking about, no one's seen yet. After one screening of this film, people are going berserk, or maybe there was one screening on the West Coast as well. Did Scott Mann see it?
Yeah. Well, it's not out till Christmas Day. It'll probably be my Christmas Day movie.
I can't wait to see it. Again, the Safdie brothers, they split up, and you have, of course, the movie that we were just talking about, and then we've, of course, got Marty Supreme. Two, you could call them sports biopics, but Marty Supreme is about ping pong, and it's only loosely a sports biopic. It's about a lot of other things. Yeah. So those are our top 5 Best Picture. I actually think this is a pretty strong... I mean, I've not seen Hamnet, Sentimental Value, or Marty Supreme. I just know about them. But this is, I think, a legitimate group of films.
Yeah.
Then, of course,
because there's 10 openings here. So
yeah, Wicked for Good. We know what that's going to be. Probably going to be great. It was just an accident.
Begonia. I don't know if this is going to get a big turnout.
Begonia, though, everyone who said everything I've read about it say it's aces. You go back to Yorgos Lanthimos, the team up that he's got with Emma. I really want to see this. And then, of course, everyone knows my love of the Avatar films. You know what? Don't bet against Jimmy C. I know. I don't want to hear Fern Gully. I don't want to hear anything about that. I can't wait to see my Mordor Na'vi who have forsaken Iowa. Your goddess has no dominion here. Yes. Can't wait. Who knows if it's going to win? Probably not. But House of Dynamite, I love Catherine Bigelow. I've loved her since I saw her first movie she co-directed called The Loveless with Willem Dafoe back in the 80s. Of course, her first film that she did solo was Near Dark, which is one of the great, there are 2 kinds of people in the world. There are Lost Boys people, and there are Catherine Bigelow's Near Dark people. I am a Near Dark person. I know the rest of you are Lost Boys people. That's only because you haven't seen Near Dark. Go on, look it up. Go find it. Yeah. And then we had a couple other good ones, though.
All right, we had a couple other good ones. We don't have to look over all of them because there's only going to be 10, but here's a couple of Springsteen. I mean, the last time we got some real buzz about a biopic would be the Johnny Cash
Walk the Line. You're right.
Line.
And the rest... Yeah, we don't need that.
Yeah, and the rest,
But there's some good stuff.
So let's
just look at the
really
top.
opened up every film ever. Okay,
there you go.
Best actress.
Best actress. We got Jessie Buckley, who plays Shakespeare's wife in Hamnet. Renata, how do you pronounce her name? Renata Reinsve? Reinsve?
We're definitely going to slaughter that one.
Sentimental Value. I'll give it up for her, but I haven't seen the movie. Cynthia Erivo, of course, we know. She's great. Emma Stone. Emma Stone can do no wrong. And Rose Byrne. If I had legs, I'd kick you. Haven't seen that yet, but I've seen the trailer. It looks really great. All good picks, those 5. Worthy.
Yeah, Yeah, I think Emma Stone could be the dark horse here, only because, it's Emma Stone. But I feel like the weight is really going towards Hamnet.
When an actress goes full bald, they say never go full bald, but Emma Stone goes full bald in this movie. And when you go full bald, there's an Oscar in your future.
Yep. But here we go for the next category, a little more one battle after another. Well, back on top of the charts, guys.
I mean, we've got Leonardo DiCaprio at number 1, Timothée Chalamet. T. Marty Supreme, Jeremy Allen White playing Springsteen himself, Michael B. Jordan playing 2 roles, Smoke and Stack in Sinners, and then, of course, Wagner Moura in The Secret Agent.
So this is where I think you could have, I won't call it an upset, but where Jeremy Allen White could actually, depending on the performance, I don't think the movie is going to become Best Picture at all. But the actor, he could draw it. I mean,
absolutely.
But boy, as great as Jeremy Allen White is, you're going up against Timothée Chalamet, and you're going up against Leonardo DiCaprio. Could this actually be Timothy's Oscar?
It could be. I mean, everyone's
his year.
Everyone said Timothée. It could be his year. And you know what? How about Timothée going up against Jeremy Allen White? You got Springsteen versus Dylan.
Oh yeah,
there's a horse race, man. But I think, judging from what I know, no shade over to Leonardo, but I think this could be Timothée's year.
All right, we're gonna move over to Best Supporting Actress.
Treonna Taylor, one battle after another. I mean, she's getting all kinds of great notices, and I could see that happening. I think that's a great choice. Elle Fanning, I mean, look, she deserved it for Neon Demon. She didn't get the love there, but she was never going to get it. For Sentimental Value, could be great. I mean, of course, coming off of Predator Badlands, why not? Ariana Grande, Wicked for Good. Gosh, you look like the 4th of July.
I don't know. That kind of sounded like the Joker, like from Nolan's Joker.
Terrible. I know. Terrible. Inga Ibsar Lianis. I can't even. Sentimental Value.
Lilias?
I can't even. Inga. Haven't seen the movie, but hey. And Gwyneth Paltrow and Marty Supreme. I wonder if she remembers what movie that one is. But you never know. We'll goop it up. We'll see.
We'll see. All right, moving on to Best Supporting Actor. I kind of feel like this might be a shoo-in for Sean Penn. We'll see here, though.
Sean Penn, one battle after. That could be a shoo-in. I think that everybody is pretty much uniformly in agreement that Sean Penn stole that movie in a way. Stellan Skarsgård, Sentimental Value. I really need to see this trailer. I don't know what this movie is. Paul Mescal as Hamnet, as Shakespeare, and not as Hamnet. Hamnet's his son, as Shakespeare in the film. Adam Sandler and Jay Kelly. That's the of course it's Noah Baumbach, right? The movie about why am I drawing a blank on ER? You know what?
Oh no!
Why am I drawing a blank on
Noah Wiley?
No.
ER. What are you talking about?
George Clooney.
Oh, George Clooney. I was like so confused.
As I get older, the names, these rapid fire names, long show, and then of course we have Jeremy Strong in Deliver Me from Nowhere. So, and Jeremy Strong, always a strong contender. He's great. Obviously, he's been great. Look, I love him in The Big Short. He's great in The Big Short. He was great in The Gentleman TV series, and of course. He's always great.
I don't think I've ever seen him not great.
He's always great.
Yeah. But I think this is definitely going to one battle after another with Sean Penn.
Yeah, I think so too.
Although, didn't Sean Penn give his Oscars back?
I don't know.
I can't remember. He may not be the biggest supporter of the Oscars, so we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. All right, moving on to Best Adapted Screenplay.
Of course, Paul Thomas. This is really... and then Hamnet is based on a book. I don't know if Chloe Zhao wrote the script. They should. Hey, Gold Derby. I just want to say right here, Best Adapted Screenplay. Why can't you give the names of the writers? Why? One battle after another. Who wrote it? Was that a Paul Thomas Anderson script? Hamnet. Who wrote that? Begonia. Who wrote that? I would imagine Yorgos Lanthimos, but I don't know.
Based on a novella or a novel by blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, so Wake Up Dead Man, we know that Rian Johnson wrote that, but that's only because I already know that. No other choice. Come on, Gold Derby. You put subtitles under these other ones, but no writers. Even Gold Derby screws the writer over.
Yeah, they didn't need to do it for the best screenplay, but they kind of screwed the pooch on this one. But how do you feel about this lineup here?
I think I think this is exactly what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
It is a tight race, though. The one thing about Hamnet and One Battle After Another, man, they're within 1.5%.
Yep.
So this is anyone's race still, even though they lead. Moving down to Best Original. Now we don't need a subtitle here.
No, well, we do, because I don't know who directed and wrote Sentimental Vice. As we know, Ryan Coogler.
But we're talking about the actual film, not what it's based on. It's based on what it is. So.
Yeah, but still, put the writers down, guys. Put the writers down. Why you got in Sunset Boulevard? They talk about the writers. That movie was made in 1950. It's 70 years later, and you guys are like not putting the writers down. Why? That's terrible. Sentimental Value, Sinners, Marty Supreme. It was just an accident. And Jay Kelly, I could see all of those being worthy. Absolutely. I mean, that looks like the lineup then and there.
Would this?
No, I think this is a great lineup.
We haven't seen Marty Supreme yet. Clearly, I mean, this could take it. I feel like with Marty Supreme, it's like how many people have seen it. So
I don't know.
The voting is skewed here.
And I've been telling my ex-girlfriends it was just an accident since I was 14 years old.
But Sinners, Best Original Screenplay. That would be the first time a horror film has won Best Original Screenplay, is it not? I got to look that up.
That's a good one. Did Silence of the Lambs win? Did
and is
Exorcist
that considered a horror
win?
or thriller? Does it matter? Is it still the same?
It's probably thriller.
Yeah.
Andy Kevin Walker should have won for Seven back in 1995, but that's just me. Rosemary's Baby should have perhaps won Best Screenplay. Maybe it did.
Unless Sinatra got in the way of that.
Could be. He wasn't happy.
I'm looking.
But based on Ira Levin's novel.
Oh, yes, of course. Get Out.
Did that win Best Screenplay?
Wins Oscar for Best Original Screenplay.
Well, there you go. Get Out.
So
That is truly a horror film.
Yep. All right.
Best Screenplay. There you go. We learn something new every day. I forgot that.
Now, this is a new category, which I'm all for.
Uh-oh.
So good for the casting directors. Best casting.
Again, One Battle After Another, Sinners, Hamnet, Sentimental Value, and Wicked for Good. I would say yes. Okay. I've always believed Christine Sheeks, who I work with, I call her my professional wife. She's an incredible casting director. She's also a great producer in her own right. She cast my audio drama, True Noir. But here's the thing. Best casting, you also have big headlining stars in these movies. And did they get that job because the casting director was great, or did they get that job because those names got the secondary cast?
Some of these people don't have to audition. Let's face it.
That's true. And, I have to tell you, one of my favorite roles in Hollywood is the casting director, because a great casting director, look at what's her face over at Marvel. Why am I drawing a blank on her name? Sarah. Sarah over at Marvel has done an amazing job casting the MCU. And Sarah Finn, is it Sarah Finn? She's amazing. And I know that Christine Sheeks, who won an award for casting Boogie Nights, she is amazing. And working with her makes everything better, because casting directors think out of the box, and they bring you characters, they bring you actors you might not have thought of. That's how, like, James Gunn did not want Chris Pratt to play Star-Lord.
Right.
And Sarah Finn was like, no, you got to look at this guy. You got to look at this guy. And he's like, no. But she brings him in, and he nails it. That's why casting directors are some of the most important people in Hollywood and some of the most unsung. So it's good that they get an Academy Award.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the director has to make final approval. But yeah, I think this is a great addition to the Academy.
Yeah, and casting directors work in tandem with the director. That's the joy of working with them.
But that's so much so, like, you can make that excuse and say, well, okay, so is the editor and so does the cinematographer. We still honor them.
Yeah.
So,
And shout out to Marion Doherty's assistant, Trish, because of her, I got to meet Sherilyn Fenn back in 1990.
There you go. All right, moving on. Speaking of cinematography, best cinematography.
Best cinematography, I mean, all these, One Battle After Another, Hamnet, Sinners, Frankenstein, Marty Supreme. I haven't seen... Sinners cinematography is incredible. Frankenstein from the trailers look incredible. One Battle After Another, shooting in VistaVision, incredible.
I have to say, I'm a little surprised by the One Battle After Another.
Really?
It is great cinematography, but I felt like the Sinners cinematography really told a story on its own.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think Sinners really deserves probably that top spot if I'm being fair.
And Sinners was the first time when Ryan Coogler gave us all a tour of the way it was shot, the camera lenses and everything that happened. I mean, suddenly people were looking at it and their other films started to emulate what they were doing.
Just the drive where I can't remember the character's name, but he's a singer. And is it
Incredible.
Stack? And they're just driving across the fields. Not only what's happening between them, but how they're interacting, and also once they hire oh my goodness, why am I forgetting his name? The actor's name.
Delroy Lindo?
Yeah, when he's telling his story. Now the actor's telling his story, but what's happening around them is also inciting what their passion is.
Yeah.
And I just think like that can't be just ignored.
No,
So
it
for
was
me,
amazing.
Sinners gets best cinematography.
Female cinematographer, too.
She did a wonderful job, better than I could ever do. Best. Oh, we know about this, right? Best
costume design. Frankenstein, Wicked for Good. That's Paul Tazwell, who has been on this channel, I've interviewed him. So is Philippe Boutet. We've both interviewed Paul Tazwell. He's amazing, and he's up again for Wicked for Good. Hamnet, Sinners, Marty Supreme. Again, all those probably great choices. I mean, Frankenstein, the costumes look incredible. I can't wait to see Frankenstein.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough beat with
one.
Wicked, but Frankenstein could do it.
Best film editing, one of my favorite categories.
Yep.
All of these, I hear that Hamnet has really good editing for what it is, and of course, One Battle After Another. And Marty Supreme, probably knowing it's a Safdie Brothers movie, there's probably the most edits in that movie. And then, of course, Catherine Bigelow's House of Dynamite. If you go back and you watch any of her films, the editing, Point Break, Strange Days. You should all watch Strange Days. Really, it's 30 years old. It's one of Angela Bassett's greatest roles, and I still want to be Lenny Nero, Ray Fiennes' character in that movie. But check it out. So I'm sure this category is going to be a tough one.
Marty Supreme could actually end up. I think this is going to skyrocket just based on what's going to be happening in the film and how they're pacing it, how they're putting it all together. Especially like once he starts playing ping pong and everything else, and we don't know how they're going to draw tension and for now because
Uncut Gems. I mean, the editing in Uncut Gems is extraordinary.
For now, because I haven't seen Marty Supreme, I'm going one battle after another because they're telling multiple stories happening at the same time, intercutting with all. It's very complex storytelling with one battle after another. So I'm going to go for that. Let's see. Just looking through some of these other categories. We'll go with one more.
One more.
And that's best score.
Ooh.
I mean, if Sinners doesn't get this one.
Yeah, I got to say, the score for Sinners was pretty extraordinary.
I get Wicked for Good. It's a musical, and it's all based around those songs. But, man.
I mean, I'm sure all these films have...
Much like the cinematography, I felt like the music told the
Sinners
story
was a character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Sinners is... It's... Plus, I love that score. I love the music in it.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, look, One Battle After Another is obviously leading and dominating those nominations right now. That could change. Marty Supreme could take a huge jump.
Could.
Oddly enough, I didn't see much of Smashing Machine in there for all the talk.
Right.
Of it being Oscar bait. I didn't see much biting. So we'll see. These are just predictions. These aren't the actual nominations. So, we're just keeping tabs on that. What do you guys think?
And by the way, Gold Derby, you should put the names of the people that are nominated. Why is it that you're just talking actors? Actors are only as good as the people supporting them. All those other great crafts people, and especially the costume designers, not mentioned. You can spend the extra time and do it.
I don't know if people are ever going to mention craft, but services, although they are honestly one of the single most important.
They are.
If you don't have people fed, you don't have a production.
Nope. I always tell young producers, remember your crafty and especially your catering. Your crew will judge you that first day, and especially if you're making a low-budget movie. If you don't win your crew at lunch, you've lost them forever.
I've never worked on a set. I have visited many sets, and man, craft services is really a highlight every time I visit a set.
Well, yeah, I got to tell you, I've told this to people. They're like, well, why? The two most important people when you're beginning a low-budget production is your catering. I know, you laugh at me, but you're not paying your crew what they're worth, and good food is how you win their hearts. And the other people are your hair and makeup people because you want your actors happy. And on a
Because they have
low
to
budget,
sit there a long time.
yeah, and on a low budget
And
production,
every day.
all your actors can do is know they look good. Your costume and hair and makeup
Yeah.
people, those are key hires.
And
Don't skimp.
A lot of time when they're on set, they're sitting getting makeup on and off.
Yeah, and by the way, the hair and makeup people are also psychiatrists.
Yes.
And they're also the place you want to go on a Friday night when you're about to wrap. Always go into the hair and makeup trailer. Don't tell them I sent you, but go.
Yeah. And don't send them your scripts. All right, let's wrap this segment up, guys. What do you think? We're just keeping tabs on the Oscar nominations so far. We have a couple more months, and Marty Supreme still isn't even in theaters yet. What do you guys think about one battle after another leading the way? Do you think it's going to sweep the Oscars? We had a question yesterday. Will there ever be a film again that gets at least 8 or more across the board? Could this be the year where we see that happen one more time?
Yeah, Avatar.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the Na'vi and the what is it? The Mordor.
The Mordor Na'vi.
Yeah, the Mordor Na'vi. So we'll see.
Your
All right, guys.
has no dominion.
Moving on to our final topic here. K-pop Demon Hunters. I mean, obviously we've talked about that again ad nauseum. It hit theaters for sing-alongs. It was very popular. Made a ton of money in just a couple of days with very little notice. Huge on Netflix. Sony Animation, but it licensed to Netflix. We've talked about live action possibly happening, and obviously a sequel to the animated version.
And I want that yellow. Somebody make me that yellow leather motorcycle jacket. I will wear it.
You'll
proudly.
wear it?
Yes.
If you wear that, I'll wear the jacket, which you can buy with the scorpion on the back from Drive.
Oh, that's yeah. But I want like
And we'll
Kaneda.
be two cool guys walking in the bar.
Yeah, I want like an Akira-esque Kaneda jacket, but with that K-pop Demon Hunters design.
Well, look, K-pop is back in the news, okay? Because why? Well, the creator and the co-director seem to have some issues with the live action.
We're going to talk about the artistic integrity of K-pop Demon Hunters. The creator rejects a live-action movie. It would feel too grounded. It wouldn't work for me. Well, let's read on to this. This is intriguing. This is what I always talk about. Is it too whimsical or not? K-pop Demon Hunters creator Maggie Kang recently told the BBC that she does not want to see her record-breaking Netflix animated movie getting the live-action treatment in the future. I don't understand that. You're going to cast like people like my lovely Lalisa from Blackpink and something like that. Why wouldn't you want that? There's so many elements of tone and the comedy that are so suited for animation, Kang told the news outlet. It's really hard to imagine these characters in a live-action world. It would feel too grounded. So totally, it wouldn't work for me.
I would like to direct her to Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, I mean, you mean Edgar Wright?
Well, I just mean watch the film. Because that takes elements of like things that are absurd.
Edgar Wright could be a really good
Yeah.
director for a live-action K-pop Demon Hunters movie. Or remember, one of the most maligned and underloved films of all time, Josie and the Pussycats. If you don't believe me, watch it. You make up your own mind. I think a live-action K-pop Demon Hunters movie is inevitable.
Yeah.
Especially with the success. Who wouldn't go see that? Like I would go see that. And what does she mean by too grounded?
Well, she has a quote here. Here we go. Right there. One of the great things about animation is that you make these composites of impossibly great attributes. Rumi can be this goofy comedian, then singing and doing a spinning back kick a second later and then free falling through the sky. Maybe she hasn't seen a Marvel movie.
But you know what, though? I
get what she's saying, though.
I often talk, though, about how one of the problems in translating Asian-themed material to live action is there's a sense of whimsy in that material that we in the West don't respond to. Like people talk about, why isn't there a Star Blazers movie? Why isn't there a Space Battleship Yamato movie, which is my favorite things? Well, the idea of taking a battleship from the bottom of the ocean and turning it into a spacefaring vessel, but it still looks like a battleship.
Right.
I don't know if people are going to buy into that. I mean, I would, but not a lot of other people would. I mean, you look at One Piece shows that it can be done. You know, if you do it correctly, if you have the people that understand it, and with audiences embracing manga and other influenced films, live action films that are based on manga, it could start, maybe it could work, but you need a deft touch.
She kind of touches on that further. She says the joy of animation is how far you can push and elevate what's possible. I remember they adapted a lot of different anime into live action, and oftentimes it just felt a little stilted.
Yeah, because they're trying to make it too Western.
Yeah.
they're taking the whimsy and the things that make Japanese anime or manga interesting. They want to bleed it out because the people don't understand it, and that's what makes it popular in the first place. It's a really interesting. It's hard to do.
I think it does allow for somebody, could even be another Korean director, to express their vision on this. I mean, someone said, well, it seems pointless. Well, okay, but if it makes up 600 million in the box office, is that pointless? You got to think about it from a studio's perspective.
Yeah, and also, I mean, the Korean film business is killing it. They can do anything. They can do horror, and it's not just Squid Game. You know, they're making incredible thrillers and crime dramas and romances. I mean, if you made this in Korea, you definitely have an industry there that could support any kind of movie you want to make. I'd say bring it on. Well,
and she also says, you know, her support is thrown behind an animated sequel, which I don't think any of us think that it's not going to happen. Sony Animations is definitely going to be creating an animated sequel. Now,
if they announce a cinematic universe, it wouldn't surprise me.
No, and what that licensing will look like with Netflix? Do they have the rights to take back some of that, or is it going to be the same deal? I don't know. I don't know what the deal is for future content. I don't know if they thought that far ahead, but I mean, it just seems to me, though, you know, at the end of the day, I don't know that she has control of the property. So
right.
Whether she thinks it's a bad idea or not, here's one thing. I understand your feelings, but are you going to she mentioned stilted a product. Are you going to stilt this product by boo-hooing something that could be potentially hundreds of millions of dollars for the people who picked up your product to begin with and then licensed it out? I mean, looking at it from the...
She's just negotiating the press. It's just a ploy. The check needs to get 1 0 bigger. And she's like, this is a great idea.
And then you think, from what I've seen, I really think they're taking this in a different direction than I ever thought.
Yeah. Yes.
Because it does feel a little like you just kicked the studios in the shin with that comment.
No, and I think like what you want to do is you want the creators to be involved. That's why One Piece has succeeded. You know, I mean, that's what to do. That's what you should do. And I think that's what they will do. I mean, look, this product has now become one of the most valuable in Hollywood. Everybody's jockeying for their position. So I understand. Yeah. I just want that yellow jacket. I want to wear one. I want it to fit me. I have to lose 50 pounds. I'll look good in it.
Also, speaking of, because we did mention that it did really well in theaters. Now, I looked up the article. It said today and tomorrow is actually some showtimes too. But anyway, at least on Fandango, it looks like K-Pop Demon Hunters sing-along event is coming back Halloween, which I'm going to be going to see the re-release of Back to the Future Halloween Day. But it's playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Halloween weekend. I mean, this thing made, what, 18 million with very little
You know how many people
knowledge?
are going to dress up on Halloween and go to this movie?
So separately, that made 18. What is this making? And then altogether, I mean, it's going to be huge, right?
And it's got an extra day here.
Yeah.
18. I'm going to go 40.
40 plus 40. Plus the 18 already made. So
40 million bucks.
Man. Are you guys going to go see it? I don't know.
Yeah, what are you going to go down in the comments section and tell us? Don't just tell us we know you're going to see it. Tell us who you're going to dress up as.
Yeah. You know what? You could even hang out, not in a creepy way, but you could just hang out like outside of the theater as if it was a little Comic-Con. And just for the cosplay, I'm sure it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I can't hang out because I'd be the creepy old guy.
I'm just looking at the cosplay. Well, that makes you worse. So I don't know what you're doing. You should go away now.
And I'll just come with a whole bag of candy here.
Oh, please don't do that. Please don't do that. All right, guys. Well, look, that pretty much wraps it up for our main topics. But we've got some questions to answer, Rob.
This is the most important part of the show. It's what you guys want to talk about.
Yep. And we're going to hear from you very shortly, but we have one more sponsor to hear from, and that's our good friends at Zapier. So we'll see you back in just a moment.
Guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Zapier. You know, one of the biggest game changers of the past year has been AI. But let's be real, just talking about AI doesn't actually make your day any more productive. What does make it more productive is finding tools to put AI to work for you. And that's where Zapier comes in. Zapier is the easiest way to take AI and plug it directly into the apps and processes that you're already using every day. No IT bottlenecks, no complexity, just results. For me, it's been about saving time on repetitive stuff so I can focus on the work that matters and I actually enjoy. And it's not just me. Over 3.4 million companies are already using Zapier to streamline everything from sales and marketing to IT and HR. With their AI orchestration platform, you can connect top AI models like ChatGPT or Claude right into the apps you already use. So whether it's automatically enriching leads, coaching your sales team, or even resolving IT tickets, Zapier makes it simple. Guys, join the 3.4 million companies already automating with Zapier and transform how you work with Zapier and AI. Get started for free by visiting zapier.com/Campea. That's zapier.com/Campea.
All right, guys. If only this microphone and if only this lower third weren't in my way, people could read my shirt. They could see that. They could just see that shirt in all of its glory. I don't know. I don't think anyone cares, but maybe someone mentioned that. Anyway, my wife gave me this shirt and I love it. But yeah, I saw someone mention they're like, his mic is pissing me off. I'm like, oh no, is there a technical issue? Like he's trying to read the shirt. Well, there you go.
There you go.
All right, Rob. I'm gonna move us over to some tips here. And we're going to start with New Track 13. On Monday's show, you reacted to the disappointing box office reports for Tron and the Smashing Machine. I finally saw Ares. Any thoughts on Kiss of the Spider-Woman's results, since it didn't even crack 1 million for a wide release, got great buzz, and the performances were great. Any thoughts on that, Rob?
I didn't even know it was coming out, and I saw the original, the original film, which I thought was quite great, and I didn't even know that it was being released. There was no marketing for this film. And if there was, they didn't do a very good job, because if we in the movie sphere, like I try and keep up with everything that's coming out, and I didn't know it was coming out. And look, that could be a failing from I told my ex-wife, remember honey, it's always my fault. So maybe that's my fault that I didn't see the trailers, but I would say that bad marketing, because I didn't even know it was out.
All right. Moving on, Anonymous, YouTube recommended, this is addressed to John, but recommended one of your Adopt a Family video for me. I know you said you stopped filming those. Well, he did one last year because some people complained calling it promotion, which it wasn't promotion because it didn't, I don't even think we monetized it, so whatever. Please bring them back. We need more examples of kindness that people can see. I don't want to speak for John. I'm under the understanding that he was going to continue doing those.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. Maybe we can address this question again when he returns. I don't see a problem with it personally. Do you?
I will say, having gone to one of those families and presented everything that the viewers of this show made possible, was one of the most moving moments I've ever had in my life. To see the joy of bringing a whole, there was this entire family, I think there was 8 people living in one motel room, and bringing them Christmas was extraordinary. And, they were a really hardworking father trying to do what he could for, somebody bought him work boots, and you might as well brought him, the end of the rainbow.
Oh, I know.
It was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So moving on, Hammer Time. All right. Hammer Time. Call me crazy, but man, maybe I should get some parachute shorts.
I know.
Pants. Are those back in style? Or parachute?
You know what I love?
Parachute pants. Are those back in style?
I've heard that, but I heard that MC Hammer became the godfather of the rap industry. He became this even a feared figure even more than Suge Knight was. I don't know if that's true. Yeah, I'm there's a movie.
The Reverend.
Is that true? I don't know.
All right. Going back, I'm sorry, Hammer Time. Call me crazy, but could Apple be potential buyer for Warner Brothers if the company splits? Yes. After all, they were a front runner to buy MGM before Amazon swooped in and overpaid. Plus, a lot of Apple TV originals, maybe even half, are produced by WB Television, and I don't actually think that's a bad idea.
I don't think it's a bad idea, but I think the real problem is it depends. Why are you buying the studio? Are you buying the studio just to acquire the library, which makes sense if you're a streamer? Or are you going to keep producing films? Do you want to do theatrically? I mean, it's the business. Apple is so not in the theatrical distribution business. That's why they're making multiple deals with different studios. They've teamed up with A24. They've teamed up with Warner Brothers to release F1. So it really depends what you'd want to do. I mean, I don't want to see more of these mergers. I don't want Apple to buy Warner Brothers. I want Warner Brothers to stay as the vibrant 100-year-old studio that it is with its storied history, and I want to see that history continue. Because look, it doesn't matter. Mergers are not great for the business. The less studios there are, the less places you can take material to make.
And I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I just over Skydance, and here's my argument yesterday was that nothing, even politics aside, you're picking up a studio that was in a desperate situation, and so far it's a lot of talk, and we like what they're talking about. We like their plans, but we really haven't seen them put into action yet, and we haven't seen the profit off of that either. And it's one thing to come in and swoop in like the quote unquote hero and save Paramount, but WB is a record-breaking studio, especially this year,
right?
That really doesn't have any issues to fix. And
they're paying down their debt from the merger with Discovery. I mean, who knows what they're going to do?
And you just took on Paramount one step at a time, fellas.
Yeah, I mean, they still are going to drop Star Trek Starfleet Academy.
Oh, boy. I haven't seen the trailer for that. I didn't watch it when it was sent to us by Scott, but I've seen some pictures, and a Klingon in a hoodie. That's a good name for it. You know what? That's the name of my band, Klingon
in a hoodie. Yeah, I've got something to say. I might be talking about that. On my own stream, on my own Robservations tonight on the Burn Network.
Did you forget the name of your own show, Rob?
No, I just was thinking about, do I really want to? Do
you want to go down that road?
Do I wanna? Do I really wanna? People want me to. They're asking me to.
I know. Well, they love negative.
Every time I talk about modern Star Trek, 1 year gets taken off my life.
Yeah, you know what? We need you around, so maybe just don't. All right, moving on. Effing meta duck says, Voiko, your thoughts regarding how the scene in Godfather 2 with Keaton and Pacino are very helpful. I'm sorry. Not that I was thinking the scene was powerful. It was. I'm trying to figure out how to recognize good editing as an aspiring appreciator of the art. I love this. Not someone who's just trying to break in. Literally just purely wants to understand the art.
Yep.
I love that. Any other scenes you could point to help me understand how to specifically see editing's craft? This is great that you're here, Rob, as you are a editor, cinematographer. You do it all. We were talking about The Godfather 2, and we were talking about Diane Keaton, who sadly passed away, and her performance in Godfather. And then we mentioned
It was a boy, Michael.
Yeah.
It was a boy.
So
and
that's
this whole Sicilian thing.
So that's why I felt like Godfather 2 actually was her best performance than even Godfather 1. And we were talking about that scene in the living room I think it was actually in a hotel room.
Yeah.
And I said, it is a powerful scene. It's powerfully acted, but I want you to study the editing in that scene, because oftentimes they're crossing lines.
Right. Yeah.
Sight lines and such. And the way that's edited, and it's cut around the room, and yet you still understand where everyone's still standing in that room, was masterfully cut.
Yeah.
So, and now he's asking if there's any other kind of like, it could be from anywhere else, but anything that you felt was like really well edited. A scene like that where you still kept your perspective, but it was kind of complicated.
Well, there's all different kinds of editing. There's action editing, when you're editing action. I think a scene that should be studied in terms of editorial and action is the truck chase in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Because the truck chase in Raiders of the Lost Ark is the editing, because it's almost purely, there's no dialogue really in that scene. The editing establishes a goal. Indiana Jones needs a goal. He's got to get on the truck. And then once he gets on the truck, he has to get into the driver's cab. So it's a great scene that shows you, okay, here's the scene, here's the milieu, the scene. It establishes what the goal is. It establishes where Indiana Jones has to get to. Mm-hmm. And then when the goal is achieved, there's another goal put on top of it. That sequence is a brilliantly edited sequence. Another great sequence, then there's conversations like you're talking about. The scene in Heat, where Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, it's almost done in just medium shots and close-ups. You don't even see like you don't really see an establishing two-shot in Kate Manalini's or 50-50 or whatever. But what you're doing is, my philosophy of film editing, and admittedly I've only edited low-budget movies, I've never broken into big-budget movies, is every time you cut to a different shot, and even if it's you're cutting back and forth between two separate shots, you're always conveying new information. Mm-hmm. The only time you edit should be when you're cutting to a shot that is providing you new information. That new information can be a gesture. It can be a line of dialogue. It can be something in the background. But there's got to be something that is telling you, you're telling a story through imaging. And there's always got to be something. Sometimes in action scenes, like Michael Bay shoots with 10 cameras, and then he even calls his website, shoot for the edit. He'll figure it out in editorial. Well, that's one way, and that definitely comes from music video directing. But the really controlled filmmakers understand how to use editing, but that's my
What?
And I'll tell you another thing. If you really want to find out about film editing, watch your favorite movie without sound. Take all the sound away, all the dialogue away, and watch your movie without sound.
This is how I was trained when I went to Video Symphony, and I actually got trained in editing, is you should be able to convey the same story with no sound. And so we had to actually, as we were building a scene, we had to actually submit our work silent, as if it was silent film, before we ever even messed with dialogue or sound or music or anything.
And whenever I edit a film, the last movie that you can see that I edited is Tango Shalom, aka Forbidden Tango, and it's currently available to stream on Amazon. And I'll watch the movie silently until I'm happy with all the edits. And it changes because you can use sound to smooth your edits out. But so take your favorite movie, take your favorite scenes, and watch the movie silently. And another thing, count the edits. So when you're watching a movie, whether it's an action scene, and then when you start doing that, you'll start to realize, okay, there's a master shot, and where are you going to go into?
Yeah.
Where are you going to go next?
And the correct answer isn't always the ultra wide, medium, close. It's not always the answer.
It is not always the answer, and that's the best way to start learning about editing. When I love what you're doing because you're watching editing. Me too. Nobody ever really does that.
And if he wants to read. In the blink of an eye. It's not a big book. You can read it in probably a day or two. Even if you want to read it slowly, a few days. It's short. It's small.
And it's by Walter Murch.
Walter Murch, who edited, of course, Apocalypse Now, and he was a
Cold Mountain,
famous sound editor as well.
Yeah, famous, incredible book. Also,
in the blink of an eye,
Sergei Eisenstein wrote a book about montage. The 5 levels of montage.
And I read that too.
Yeah, I forget what it's called, but we're going back to the 20s. Sergei Eisenstein is really the grandfather of editorial, and he really came up with a lot of these concepts, or at least quantified these concepts. But those 2 books, especially in the blink of an eye, anybody who loves movies should read Walter Murch's book in the blink of an eye.
100%. And one thing, like we talk about this all the time, and I never bring it up. This isn't the full frame. It's cut.
I don't know if they ever use this shot.
What's funny is barely ever, and why? Look between. That is so much dead space. That is that was like number one no-no for us as editors, never to do.
Yeah.
Of course, there are exceptions to every rule. The exception is Al Pacino and Robert De Niro.
Right. And the one thing about using a 50-50 like that is you do establish the reality of a situation. Because another thing is, editing also, if you're just cutting between this or this, it can look cheap. Like cutting out, it allows you to reestablish.
It looks like it's made for TV.
Yeah, or you can reestablish the line. But I could talk about this forever.
Yeah. All right, we got to move on. John
would never have let us have that conversation.
But we got to be editor nerds for a little bit.
Yeah.
John started watching The Studio for the first time. It's really good. Boy, you could say that again. Would Seth Rogen's role as studio head be similar to a Kevin Feige, or is he more like the guy Feige reports to? He's not the studio. Wait, he's not the studio owner in the studio, right? He's the producer.
Well, he becomes he's only just beneath Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston would be the guy Kevin Feige.
He's more like Bob Iger.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige would report to him.
Right. Yeah. McNeil. Will either Dune Part 3 or Avengers Doomsday move from the December 18th release date, or will Doomsday actually happen? If they both actually release on the same day, will be one of the best days of my life. It may, but I don't see them staying on the same day.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah. I didn't know that was the case.
I didn't know that was the case. That's kind of insane. Mainly because of IMAX and premium screen share, and I know John will say like those don't account for the majority of screens, and that's true.
Right.
But people often don't turn out unless they can get to those screens on opening weekend.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're going to want to compete on the same day because they're also the same audience. So I think someone moves. All right, McNeil. Let's see. I know this is putting the cart before the horse, but who should be a better Joker for the DCU? Bill Skarsgård or Austin Butler? Also, I've also wanted Johnny Depp as Joker, but I know that's never going to happen. Not at his age, not now.
I don't know. I mean, you know, it's funny. I the other day I had to wait for this thing to render, and it was like even these days a 10-minute render is like 10 minutes. But I started watching Dune 2. And first of all, that movie's amazing. But I was watching the end of the movie when you get the big speech, and then of course they attack. The Emperor shows up, and Austin Butler fights Fade Ralph fights Paul Atreides, and Austin Butler, he's got a great face for the Joker. And I'm thinking,
well, he really does.
And I was like, you know, I don't know if he has the acting chops to do something. The problem with the Joker is now on film, you've got Jack Nicholson, you've got, I mean, there's so
Joaquin
many.
Phoenix.
I mean, you got
Heath Ledger.
Yeah, you got Joaquin Phoenix, you got Heath Ledger, and you've got Jared Leto. And I don't know where you go with that. And I think that Austin Butler, it's going to be tough for anybody to do a Joker that's as indelible as the ones that we've seen.
Oh,
you know?
Also we have Coogan.
Oh yeah,
So
that's right.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't envy anyone who's going to try and play the Joker again.
I think they may stay away from that for a little while
Yeah, I do too.
because I don't know what Reeves is developing with that. So, Miguel, two-parter. Hello, John. Big fan since your first Avengers review the same year I moved to the U.S. My English and pop culture knowledge improved by a lot by watching you. Thanks for being such a positive, informative presence. I recently moved back to Mexico. It was a complicated decision, but I'm grateful I can still enjoy your show. My only regret, I never made it to a movie meetup. I literally lived 5 minutes from the Chicago one today. Keep up the great work. You missed it.
Dude, we should do a movie meetup in Mexico.
Well,
I'd go to
you
that.
never know. He may go international once this is done domestically. I mean, he has gone international because he went to Toronto, but so maybe. You never know. And I'm sorry you missed him, man. And you know what? I hope everything works out back in Mexico. And if you ever return, then welcome here too. You got two homes now. Where is Shang-Chi 2? Says, what would you rather have? Shang-Chi 2 come out tomorrow or a Kim's Convenience finale season available to binge watch tomorrow? Shang-Chi 2. Because I didn't watch Kim's Convenience yet.
Oh, Kim's Convenience is great. But I want Shang-Chi 2. I like Shang-Chi a lot. I'm a Shang-Chi lover. And I know it's not like the Doug Mensch, Paul Gulacy Shang-Chi from the 70s, which was James Bond meets Enter the Dragon. I get that. It's not that. It's a different, modernized version of Shang-Chi. That said, I really liked the film. I thought it was, Marvel doing a wuxia movie. What's not to love? I really enjoyed Shang-Chi. I'd love to see Shang-Chi 2. I don't know why we haven't got another one.
All right, it looks like we're down to our final tip here. It's from Matana. It was a one of two, but only one came through, so maybe this is the full. It just says, do you think that the AI bubble bursting could have a knock-on effect on the film industry? A lot of studios explored options to use AI. Most of them suck.
Look, AI is a tool. After seeing what Sora 2 can do, and it's just going to get better and better and better. I mean, I think the real question is, philosophically, are we as human beings going to be able to recognize if a script was written by AI and AI becomes, they've got the Fellini AI in Italy, that's the first AI director. If a film is entirely created by AI with maybe just human beings prodding at the edges, are we going to know? Like, if you sit down and watch a 2-hour film that's entirely generated by AI, I was sent... My friend Carrie David, who's a great documentarian who I work with producing the Agent Cody Banks movies, she sent me something a filmmaker had created. It's like a 2-minute shot, a continuous shot where it starts with a camera going into the grate of a sewer in a city. And I'm looking at the shot and I'm like, this is great, but video games have been doing stuff like this. The real question to me is, are we going to watch entirely AI-generated films, because I've always believed, which are basically then animated movies. But if you have a photorealistic animated movie, like say The Lion King, would you watch a photorealistically generated Michael Mann movie? Would you watch a photorealistically generated C-Note movie? Would you watch, if Inception was entirely AI generated, could we tell? And if we could tell, or if we couldn't tell, philosophically, would we want to watch? Like, I think there's something about movies as an art form, and they are the art form of the 20th century. There were no movies, feature-length films, before the 1900s. Are we going to accept them? Mm-hmm. And I don't know the answer to that. It might be that eventually stories are stories and no one's going to care. But I think that there's something about watching a film knowing it's crafted by people. But that's because I am a product of the 20th century, and I still believe in the how all these disparate people come together, the great circus of people that make movies. I still believe in it.
I think you really, like, if these feature-length films are going to happen eventually, we're still, in my mind, we still will look at it as an animated film, though.
But when it's indistinguishable from real life.
But that also requires the studio to lie to us and not convey to us whether are they going to be like, we're not telling you if this is AI or not, then people will just boycott.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, like you got to tell us.
They'll boycott now, but what about in 20 years? You know, when a new generation is born and they don't have the attachment. I mean, already, as I on my Let's Get Physical Media show that I do every Sunday with Dieter Bastian, there's always people bitching about grain.
But you know what?
In 4K discs, and I'm like, that's inherent in the material.
Which is funny because for so long people were like, they removed the grain.
Yeah, and now it's like, why? Yeah, and look, when you remove grain, basically what you're doing. I mean, now with AI, they can replace the background images, but when you were using DVNR to take care of grain, you were smearing the original image.
I will say, Rob, and this will give you some hope for the future.
Please,
because of my kids and their generation, they're Gen Z and just barely Gen Z or Gen A crossover. They're still like very young Gen Z. Their friends are Gen A. They have some friends that are Gen A. They're like the little kids that want to hang out with the teenagers.
Right.
And I hear them talk. They come over, they do band practice, they do their thing. Look, there's a lot of pushback with younger generations about screen time on iPad, because all I ever hear on these stupid rerun the 80s or rerun the 90s or like all these nostalgia porn and Instagram. Right. Kids today don't do really, because kids today, I just like went out to my my neighborhood pathway and there's kids like on bikes, like groups of 7 or 8 popping wheelies and stuff. Kids are out there, man.
They're out there.
Stop with the whole like kids only stare at screens now. There is a big pushback from the children themselves for not being screenagers, and also a pushback on AI. Like, it can be used and they'll understand, but they want to know, and they will straight up be like, "Oh, that's just AI crap." And, and they're young, so I mean, then we're really going to have to go generations ahead for anything to accept it.
That's good. I mean, I love to hear that. I hope that's true.
Yeah,
because AI is going to eliminate most of our creative endeavors.
Well, not really, because Skynet's going to shut down our grid, so we actually will have to go back to cave paintings.
No, man, I'm gonna have my house is gonna be totally solar. I can flip a switch and get off the grid.
All right. Well, listen, guys, we've reached the end. So, Rob, you want to sign us off?
Well, I just want to thank everybody for supporting the John Campea Show. Thank you for your tips, and thank you for your membership, and thank you for your viewership, your great questions, participating in the show. And I thank you when it's just me and Jonathan here that you still stick around and listen to our pitter patter, because it means the world to us. So thank everybody, and here's a shout out to John Campea, who's going to a movie meetup in Chicago now.
I think so, unless he's already. I can't remember the schedule because he's on a whirlwind.
He's on a whirlwind. It's Chicago and then Indianapolis.
He made a post on the channel, so you guys can check that out.
There you go. So. And you're going to meet an Olympic gold medalist in Indiana.
He's great, man. Cody Miller is one of my favorite people in the world. He's just like so unassuming. He's humble and he's a great athlete. I got to like wear his gold medal one time back when we were at Collider. That thing is heavy. He's so cool too. He's like he's got tremendous good looks. He's got tremendous talent, and he's incredibly charismatic, and he's a great blackjack player. There you go. All right, guys. We will see you tomorrow. I know that John plans to be. He couldn't be here today. We explained it at the top of the show because he's trying to get to you guys at the movie meetups. His goal is to be with us tomorrow. But either way, Rob and I will still hold down the fort and bring him in as a guest tomorrow.
No show Friday, though.
No show Friday again. Yes, correct. But in the meantime, be safe. We'll see you tomorrow.